We want to balance a budget. We want to have a balanced budget within a reasonably short period of time, meaning maybe by next year or the year after, but maybe even sooner than that.
Talking about the budget, and one of the hurdles was just passed last night. It was down to the wire, but Trump's first cabinet meeting is happening as we speak, and he was talking to the press about what he would like to see. And the items that were passed last night, even with that slim GOP majority in the House, includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security. 0 Democrats voted for the bill, not surprising. So how soon will you feel the difference in your wallets? Let's bring in our expert panel on where we are, and also talking about a new plan when it comes to drop the price in eggs. Pleased to have a top voice in public finance, economist EJ Antoni, also a data analyst research fellow over at the Heritage Foundation, and also he is the president, Americans for Tax Reform, Grover Norquist. Gentlemen, welcome into Newsline. It's great to see you both today.
Good to be
Great to be here.
To be a fly on the wall last night as Speaker Johnson was having those votes whipped and Trump was calling members of the House. They got it done, but the real work continues. Grover, I'll let you start. You know, Americans are going to look at this and say, just get it done. But it comes down to some people holding out, and there is obviously a concern about what's in it, what's not in it. But it seems like a lot of the things we just did in the lead-in are big wins for the American people.
What passed was an outline in terms of total dollar amounts and what they were going to do on saving money from less spending and what kind of tax cuts. It also goes to the Senate. The House gets to start because it's about taxes. It goes to the Senate. The Senate has said, and the president has said, we want this to be permanent. We want it to start and continue out 100 years, meaning it doesn't just last 10 years and disappear. You've got to promise businessmen and women and American investors that what the rules are out into the future if you expect them to make the economy grow with more investment. And that's what we began to do, and it showed that we could get it done, even through a difficult House. We will have a good tax cut, good spending restraint, and permanent reduction in taxes into the future. It's the exact form, we don't know, but this can now happen.
It will take the win. James Carville has an op-ed out in the New York Times, EJ, saying how bad Republicans govern. You know, not one Democrat, we should note, we did note, voted for this. And he's saying that everyone should just embark on a daring political maneuver and roll over and play dead. But they don't want to. They want to go out and fearmonger and say that the Republicans are bad. You know, you note that the bill last night, there's no cuts to Medicaid, 0. Very different than when the Democrats were in charge. Of course, Carville left that out.
Well, exactly. If you look at just two Democrat bills, for example, the IRA under Biden and then Obamacare as well, those two combined gutted over $1 trillion out of Medicaid, siphoned off that money for other spending. And yet now the Democrats have the gall to say that this Republican bill is somehow going to cut funding from Medicare, even though Medicaid isn't even mentioned in the bill. As Grover was just pointing out, you know, these are very high-level conversations right now, even in the technical language of this bill. Specific programs aren't even mentioned. So the fact that they want government to become more efficient, let's say, that they want to cut out fraud and waste from different programs, I fail to see how that means anyone is going to stop getting their checks. Excuse me. But furthermore, you know, someone like Carville, who talks about how Democrats govern better than Republicans. I'm sorry, was it Democrats or Republicans who had control of D.C. for the last 4 years? Was it a Democrat or a Republican who was running the White House when we had 40-year high inflation and the fastest interest rate increases also in 4 decades?